techniques, but it is the administration. How can you organize more than 10,000 workmen? They were living in barracks, 55 workmen in each barrack. And they go and they work, cutting the stones in the quarry. And they take one day off and they go in the day to hunt, to fish in the Nile.
With his workforce in place, Imhotep set out to build the world's first stone structure. But before he could build up, he had to build down. He started by digging a vertical burial shaft 23 feet wide and 92 feet deep to house the pharaoh's sarcophagus. Next, Imhotep's laborers carved a second shaft through which the pharaoh's body would be lowered. Adjoining the burial chamber was a series of subterranean rooms meant to serve as the pharaoh's afterlife palace. About 1,000 feet to the south, a second tomb complex was hollowed out from the bedrock. Like many pharaohs before and after him, Djoser would have two tombs. Each would serve an essential spiritual purpose. In the northern one, his mummified body would be laid to rest. To the south, his internal organs would be placed, embalmed and sealed in canopic jars.
During mummification, one of the important parts was to empty the body cavity of all the internal organs, because if you leave them inside, the body would rot and basically explode. So the lungs, the liver, the stomach, and the intestines would be removed, and they would be dried using a mixture of salt and baking soda. Then, after they'd been dried for, a few weeks, they would be cleaned off, oiled, and wrapped up in mummy bandages and placed in boxes.
The mummified body of Djoser is buried in this maze of tunnels underneath his step pyramid here at Saqqara. There are nearly 4 miles of hidden passageways here that are totally off limits to tourists and sightseers, seeing as how the ceilings have a tendency to cave in once in a while. By the time Moses left Egypt, this place had already been here for over 1,000 years.
(2659 BC). Centuries before Stonehenge, the Egyptians are at work on the world's first stone megastructure, a colossal tomb complex for the pharaoh Djoser. At the helm of the project is Imhotep, Djoser's royal architect. In a limestone hillside near Saqqara, thousands of his laborers are pioneering a fledgling industry, quarrying. They are perfecting a system to cut, extract, and transport massive building blocks. Their first challenge is to carve up the cliff face into symmetrical slabs.
Quarrying was done by pounding the rock into grooves with hammer stones. And it was by sheer effort, cutting trenches and then trenching out the blocks and then cutting them off underneath and rolling them out of the quarry.
Once the stones are extracted, they have to be hauled over uneven desert terrain from the quarry to the construction site, using nothing more than ropes, sleds, muscle, and sweat.
They apparently had wheels, but dragging heavy things over sand, wheels are not very suitable, and sleds are obviously much more appropriate, because that's what they used.
With his tomb project in safe hands, Djoser turned his attention to strengthening Egypt's empire. He pioneered mining operations in the Sinai Peninsula, fattening the nation's coffers with a steady supply of turquoise and copper. And he pushed Egypt's southern boundary down to Aswan, the so-called First Cataract of the Nile, which would remain the nation's southern border through much of its history. 10 years into his reign, the pharaoh still felt strong, and Egyptian tradition dictated that work on his tomb had to continue until his death.